You just simply don't get that sound either with a turboed engine. It's just got that classic straight six sound, and it's just fantastic. Hey guys, it's Joel and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome, and I do really hope you enjoy this video. If you do enjoy this video, please do be sure to leave it a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below, because it does really help me to know that I'm making the right sort of content for you guys. Anyway, let's get into the topic of today's video. It's been a year now since I bought this E85 BMW Z4, the 3-litre model, and in that year I've done over 25,000 miles in the car, so I do think it's about time that I let you know some reasons why you should buy a BMW Z4. So then, no good me sitting in here, let's take a little drive, find somewhere nice, and I can begin to explain some of the reasons why you should be considering a Z4. So then, let's just be sensible for a moment. You may question about the practicality of these Z4s, and some of you out there may have wives and girlfriends and families who are going to tell you not to get one of these because they are impractical. However, the camera is conveniently placed on the boot, which is what I want to show you first, because the boot space on this Z4, as you can see, is fairly large. I've got a load of stuff in here at the moment. Let's just pop the keys down. But I can't even reach the end of that. Well, I can just about. But I travel a fair amount, and I can always get 2 large suitcases in the boot of the Z4. So yeah, obviously it's not going to have a big boot like an estate car or a big SUV. However, it is perfectly sufficient for day-to-day use, and it's not going to stop you from, you know, taking it out, going to the beach, doing whatever you want to do in it. The boot is rather large on this car, and I think that's quite an impressive selling point of the Z4. So as far as the boot is concerned, it is a good size. However, it's only fair to say that the storage aspect of this car does really stop there. The inside of the car has a small glove box, a little bit of storage behind the seats, but apart from that, nothing. Mine doesn't even have cup holders, which if you've watched the channel before, you'll know that's become the bane of my life, actually. So yeah, although the boot is absolutely fantastic and perfect and big enough, that is really where the storage for this car stops being good. The storage inside of this car is not fantastic. There's this little bit there, which I think it's an ashtray actually, so you can get your coppers in there. You've got tiny little door pockets there, another one on that side, this useless thing behind the seat, and there are cubby holes properly behind the seats, but actually unless you've got the hands of a, I don't know, there's just no way you can get in there. So yeah guys, don't let it put you off, but I thought I'd just be honest about that. There's not much storage on the inside. The limited storage on the inside is certainly not a reason why you shouldn't buy a Z4. It's just something to know about. It's not really an issue. While we're in here, I'm 5'9", 5'9.5", and I don't know, this seat's in a fairly normal position, and I don't know if you can see, but there's not that much headroom. Obviously the roof comes off, it is a convertible, but if you're a little bit taller, it might be a tiny bit squeezed for you, so just bear that in mind as well. Now, you may think that the reason for the contents of my wallet being empty is because this Z4 is bankrupting me and taking every single one of my hard-earned pennies. However, that is not the case for the most part. This car is actually very affordable to run and maintain, and I really honestly haven't incurred any serious bills at all with this car. It was fully serviced when I first got it, and that cost about £600 because a few bits did need doing, but since then it's literally cost me nothing apart from the few little bits that I've done to it myself. One thing to bear in mind though is that it does like to drink a fair amount of oil. I think that's fair to say. I may have to top this up maybe I don't know, every 1,000 miles or so, which does seem ridiculous. There isn't anything wrong with this car. It's not pissing out oil. It's just a heavy drinker. So, just touching back on the affordability of these E85 Z4s. The other thing worth mentioning is that they are actually starting to sort of go up in value very slightly. Even if they're not going up in value, they're pretty much holding their value. If you buy a early, well, it's not really early, this is middle, this is 2004, but if you buy an E85 Z4 with relatively high mileage, around the sort of 3 to 5 grand mark, you're probably not going to lose much, if any, money on it, because these cars have really just reached the bottom of their price depreciation, in my opinion. It is opinionated. I think from what I've observed, that seems to be the case, and I'm not too worried about losing any money on this car. I reckon what I paid for it is what I'll get back. If you do buy a lower mileage, newer one, you'll probably lose a little bit of money, but obviously you get the pleasure of having a newer, lower mileage Z4. But yeah, certainly these and definitely the Z4Ms have started going up very slightly in value, making this a pretty wise purchase, if you ask me. If your girlfriend or your wife or anyone is giving you grief about buying one of these because, oh, it's a stupid idea, you don't need a sports car, it's going to be so expensive, just tell them you'll make money on it. Another reason why you should buy this Z4 is because, you know, for the money and for the sort of car that it is, it does turn heads. I mean, it's not a Lamborghini, it's not a Ferrari, it's not massively special, obviously, but on a sunny day, when you've got the roof down, and this nice little exhaust, which is getting its back box removed very soon, makes its little sound as it goes past, people do turn and they have a look. And you know what? Even after having this car for a year, every time, more or less, that I get out of it, I do turn around and look at the car, and that means it is a good looking car and it turns heads. Obviously it's not for everyone. I can even appreciate that it does look like a shoe, especially with the roof on, but you know what, for the money, I think it's a very good looking car, and it does make you feel ever so slightly special. So then guys, we have talked about all the practicality and all the boring bits about why you should be buying a Z4. However, I think the main reasons are actually what's to come, which is all about the driving of the Z4. So I think it's about time we jump in the Z4 now, go for a drive, and I can talk to you even more about all the reasons why you should be buying or putting one of these on your shopping birthday list. Right guys, so here we are now in the BMW Z4 on the road, and look, I mean, that engine just sounds so good. Now, this is the 3-litre model, naturally aspirated, 230 brake horsepower, and all importantly, I've got a 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, if you ask me, this is definitely the transmission you want to go for, as opposed to the auto or the weird Tiptronic thing that they do. Anyway, it is brilliant. The gear shifts are so smooth, and that noise, like I say, from the engine just sounds brilliant. It's really classic inline-6 BMW engine. The other thing about this engine as well, once you put the car into sport mode, the throttle response is instant and actually quite brutal, especially when you go like that and then let off. It's instantaneous throttle response. It stiffens the steering up in sport mode too, so you really do feel connected with the car. Now, as well as this car being fantastically economical when you want it to be, just like this, it can also be fantastically quiet. That is actually another thing I love about this car, and would encourage you to get one for. It can go so quickly, just like that in fact, from being a very loud, raw, aggressive, fast driving experience to a very comfortable, you know, non-engaging, soft, quiet driving experience. This road doesn't do the car much justice. It's a rather noisy road. However, I'm genuinely honest in the fact that you wouldn't know it's a soft top when you're just cruising along the motorway. You know, it's not going to be as refined as a brand new car. You get into a new car nowadays, you shut the door and it's like you've stepped into a vacuum. This obviously isn't quite like that. This is a 2004 car, it's 14 years old, but relatively speaking, the transition from roof down or even roof up hard driving to just cruising along like this is pretty profound, and actually it is very comfortable and very quiet when you need it to be. Now, although I mentioned it being a negative thing in terms of space and storage earlier, I actually really like the fact that it's very enclosed in here. It feels like you're in a cockpit, and certainly from the driver's point of view, you're in your little cocoon. The wheel is very close to you. The wheel is also very small and very nice to grip, and I just think it's a great seating position for driving spiritedly, but it's also a very comfortable one for when you want to just chill, as I am now. With all that being said, I'm sure you can now see why I'm so encouraged and want to encourage other people to buy this car, because again, for the price that it is, I implore you to find something else which does all of those things so well and so reliably. Now, please do not get me wrong, I'm not completely brainwashed by BMW, and I don't think that this is the best car in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but it is just very good at what it does, and again, I keep going back to it. But for the price, it is excellent value in my opinion, and like I said earlier, I don't think you'll lose any money on it if you do buy a relatively high mileage car. As well as the way I've driven this and not always looked after it amazingly, the engine is such a strong engine, it still wants to give everything, even after 128,000 miles in my case, and it doesn't feel like it's going to let go at any point soon. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I have waffled on for long enough now. But before I go, I just want to give you guys a few pointers if you do end up buying a Z4. One, what you should look for, and two, what I think you should do once you have bought your Z4. So let's find another little nice spot to park up at, and I'll tell you guys exactly what I mean. So, very quickly then, if you are thinking of buying a Z4, there's a few things I think you should either check or do. The first one, if you're looking to buy a car, definitely make sure that the roof works. It goes up and down fine. The roof motors are known to go a bit funny in these cars, so you do want to make sure that the roof goes up and down without any hitches. Now, this isn't something I'd ask you to look for, but it's something I'd recommend you do if you buy a Z4, which is to change the tyres to conventional non-run flat tyres. As standard, these Z4s come on run flat tyres, and well, they're not very good. You get a lot of problems with them sort of weaving, following the road pattern, and yeah, just generally being a really hard ride and not really right for this car. So get yourself a pair of, you need 4, don't you? Get yourself a set of conventional tyres. I went for Goodyear asymmetric Eagle F1s or something like that. Not too expensive, but definitely worth doing. Okay guys, so I think that concludes my "This is why you should buy a BMW Z4" video. I'll reiterate again, it's not the best car in the world. I just think there's lots of great things to be said about it, and for the price that you can pick these things up, in some cases it really is a no-brainer to get one of these cars. Anyway, I did pay for the car to be cleaned before I filmed this video, and now it's absolutely caked in dust and sand and all sorts of crap. So if you did enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. As I said earlier, if you're new here and you like what you see and don't want to miss any upcoming content, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, leave a comment below if I've missed anything. If there's stuff that you disagree with, I want to know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching guys, and I will see you very, very soon.